You know that little bit of magic that happens in your pocket every single day? You're in a new city, you pull out your phone, and you search for coffee. How in the world does Google know you want that specific artisan shop right around the corner, and not some big chain 3 blocks away? Well, the answer goes back to one single pivotal moment in internet history. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on Google's Pigeon update. It's something we totally take for granted now, right? You type pizza near me, and poof, this perfect curated list just appears. But believe it or not, it wasn't always this smart. That seamless experience we all rely on is powered by an algorithm that's over a decade old. An algorithm that completely redefined what local even means online. So to really get why this update was such a massive game changer, we have to rewind the clock. Before 2013, the internet, especially when it came to finding something local, was a very different and honestly, a much clunkier place. What's really wild is that back then, Google's local search and its main web search were kind of like two separate brains that barely talked to each other. I mean, imagine having this super detailed nationwide GPS system, but for your own town, you were stuck using a totally separate hand-drawn map. The two just weren't connected, which led to some really inconsistent and, let's be honest, not very helpful results. This whole disconnect was a huge problem, and Google knew it. Their engineers were on a mission to solve it. They had to find a way to bridge that gap, to make local search just as powerful and just as reliable as their main web search. And their solution? It was an update that was internally codenamed Pigeon. At its core, Pigeon had one simple but incredibly powerful goal: merge those two brains. The whole idea was to make the local algorithm way smarter by letting it tap into the hundreds of ranking signals the main web algorithm was already using. You know, things like the authority of a website, how many other quality sites were linking to it, all that good stuff. It was all about creating one cohesive, intelligent system. And look, Pigeon didn't just appear out of thin air. It was a key step in a much larger evolution. It came right after the 2012 Venice update, which kind of started the process. And as you can see here, Pigeon's rollout directly paved the way for another massive change in 2015, the switch to the 3-pack of local results. And trust me, we are definitely getting to that in just a second. Now, unifying search sounds fantastic for us as users, and it was. But for local businesses? Oh man, the rollout of Pigeon on August 20th, 2013 was nothing short of an earthquake. It completely reshuffled the deck, and a lot of business owners woke up one morning to find their entire online world had been turned completely upside down. See, before Pigeon, local search results were pretty generous. When you'd search for something like dentist in Seattle, Google would usually show you a list of 7 businesses. This was known as the 7-pack. And for any local business, getting one of those 7 spots was a really, really big deal. The impact was immediate, and it was stark. Pigeon started replacing that cozy 7-pack with what we now know as the modern 3-pack. And just like that, more than half of the visible spots on the local search results page, poof, they were gone. This was a massive blow, and it dramatically cranked up the competition for those top 3 coveted positions. And the chaos didn't stop there. For weeks, it was the Wild West for business rankings. One of the biggest changes was the search radius got way smaller. All of a sudden, a pizza place on the east side of town might not even show up for someone searching on the west side. And like with a lot of big updates, spammers found temporary loopholes, cluttering up the results and pushing legitimate businesses even further down the page. So yeah, it was a challenging new world for sure, but it also created a whole new playbook for success. Businesses couldn't just rely on their physical location anymore. They had to completely adapt their strategy to survive and thrive in this post-Pigeon world. So how do you do it? Okay, here's the strategy that emerged. First, since Pigeon connected local to web search, traditional SEO suddenly became absolutely critical. You needed great content and quality links to build up that website authority. Second, you had to lean into that new, narrower search radius by creating hyperlocal content, stuff about your specific neighborhood or even your block. Third, you had to nail the basics. Make sure your business name, address, and phone number are perfectly consistent everywhere online. And finally, you can actually help Google out by reporting those spammy listings that are violating their guidelines. So why are we still talking about an update from over a decade ago? I mean, really? Well, it's because Pigeon wasn't just some temporary shakeup. It fundamentally and permanently redefined the rules of local search, and its principles are still the bedrock of local SEO today. The enduring legacy of Pigeon is this, right here. It forged an unbreakable link between a strong overall web presence and high local rankings. Before Pigeon, you could get by with just a decent local listing. After Pigeon, to win locally, you also had to win a traditional organic SEO, using signals like domain authority, which is basically a website's reputation score, and getting backlinks from other trusted sites. And that reality has only become more true over time. This quote from Moz just perfectly nails its legacy. Pigeon was a massive leap forward in Google's quest to master location. It was the moment Google went from just knowing what city you were in to truly understanding what street corner you were standing on and which businesses were genuinely near you. So Pigeon made Google an expert at understanding physical distance and relevance. But as search evolves with AI and all these new technologies, the very definition of local is bound to change all over again. The map was redrawn once, and you can bet it's going to be redrawn in the future. The only real question is, what's going to be the next catalyst?